In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Caroma C1 electric scooter, which is Caroma's 500 watt commuting scooter with a cool, modern, sleek design. I'm going to be going over the assembly process and go in depth on the features and specs, do an acceleration test, a braking test, a hill climb test, and a review on how it rides. So let's get to it. The C1 comes in a pretty standard scooter shipping box, but it is heavy, so make sure to be careful when moving, and if possible, have someone help you move it. After opening, the scooter is assembled about 85%. All you have to do is remove the scooter from the bag it comes in, install the handlebars, install the rear wheel, and the rear fender, including the box with the necessary tools and instruction manual. The whole process only took me about 10 to 15 minutes, with most of my time being spent on installing the rear wheel. This is a pretty easy scooter to put together, with the most difficult part being installing the rear wheel, so you should have no problem putting it together. When I went through the scooter, all the bolts were tight, all the wheels were nice, the brakes felt good, and it powered up no problem. So the first thing you probably notice about the C1 is the smooth, futuristic look of the body, which is made of magnesium alloy, which I think looks pretty cool. I do have the orange color, which has a pearlescent hue to it, which also adds to the extreme look, but the C1 is also available in black, gray, and blue. The C1 is powered by a 500 watt brushless front hub motor that goes up to 25 miles per hour. There's also a 48 volt, 10.4 amp hour lithium ion battery that's actually stored in the deck and has a claim range up to 30 miles on a single charge. The C1 comes with a dual braking system, with a single brake lever controlling the rear mechanical disc brake, which has a 140mm rotor and an eABS brake in the front. The wheels are 10-inch wheels that come with self-healing pneumatic knobby tires with a 3-inch width. For safety and increased visibility, there's also a headlight and a tail light they turn on with a button located next to the throttle. And the rear tail light also serves as a brake light. There's also turn signals that are activated with a button on the handlebars. There's also a reflector on the rear fender, which does look like a brake light, but it's only a reflector. The dashboard has a really nice display that shows your battery level, speed mode, a speedometer, and an odometer. And what's really cool is there's also a really nice graph display that goes up with your speed on the right side and the voltage on the left. So the C1 has an overall length about 47 inches, a wheelbase of about 37 inches, a handlebar height from the ground of about 45 inches, handlebar height from the deck of 37 inches, a handlebar width of 22.75 inches, a deck width of 7 inches, deck height from the ground 7.75 inches, a ground clearance of 4.5 inches, it weighs in at 46.5 pounds, and it has a weight capacity of 300 pounds. At the time of this recording, the C1 is $599 on Amazon, but there is a $50 coupon, knocking it down to $549. So the first thing I want to test, which in my opinion is the most important test for any electric scooter, is the ride comfort. So I rode the C1 around a lot in my testing, through many neighborhoods and varying types of terrain, and I must say that the scooter handled them all with ease. The C1 has a very good ride, which did surprise me because it doesn't have any suspension. But I think that the 10-inch air-filled tires with their wide width and a really solid frame did a great job of minimizing vibrations, while also not muting out the ride so you could still feel the scooter beneath you. With many scooters that I review, especially the ones with folding handlebars, one problem that they usually have is they tend to feel a little rattly when going over bumps or off sidewalks. But the C1 doesn't have this problem. The scooter feels like it's built really well and it has a really solid feel to it. The only thing is, I wish that the handlebar height was a little bit taller, but that's just a personal preference. And since the C1 does have knobby tires, I did take it on some dirt paths, and it performed really well. There was a lot of grip, but having no suspension did make the ride a little on the harsher side. But overall, it was a confidence-inspiring ride. So Caroma claims that the C1 has a max hill climbing ability of about 20%, and I do have a hill with a 15% grade near me, so I want to see how it handled the hill. Let's see how it went. Alright, here we go, testing the hill climbing ability of the C1. Which Caroma says has a hill climbing ability of 20%. This hill right here is about 14 to 15%, so it should handle it no problem. We're going 11 miles per hour. Pretty easy. 500 watt motor doing really, really well. Now we're down to 10 miles an hour, 9.6. 10, easy. Wow. Pretty powerful and simple. So 15%
Hillclimb is cake.
As you can see, the C1 crushed the hill climb like nothing. I do have a hill near me with a 19% grade, but there was construction going on during testing, so I couldn't use that hill. But I'm very confident they could easily do a 17 to 18% grade, no problem. So for the acceleration test, I want to check the acceleration to the top speed of 25 miles per hour. Here's how it went.
Here we go, going to the top speed of 25 miles per hour in speed level 3. Ready, and go. 10, 15, 20, 25.
So the C1 went 0 to 10 miles per hour in 3.1 seconds, 0 to 15 in 5.8 seconds, 0 to 20 in 9.8, and to its top speed of 25 in 20 seconds. Based on its hill climbing ability, I think the C1 motor is tuned more for torque than top speed, which I'm perfectly okay with. And the last test I want to do was the braking test, where I tested the braking distance from each of the speed levels. First was from speed level 1, which is about 12 miles per hour, which the C1 did in 12 feet. Next was from speed level 2, which is about 18 miles per hour, which the C1 stopped in 22.5 feet. Last was from speed level 3, which is 25 miles per hour, which the C1 did in 32 feet. So the braking was pretty good on the C1, but I do wish that the front EABS system was a little more aggressive. The C1 does stop pretty quickly, but you do have to modulate the brake a little just to keep the rear tire from skidding too much. So far through my extensive testing, the C1 has held extremely well to daily use. The 500 watt brushless motor is almost silent, and it's extremely smooth and torquey. It's able to cruise at the top speed of 25 pretty easily and has a very comfortable ride. The tires and frame do a phenomenal job of muting out any vibrations, and this is one of the most comfortable scooters I've ever tested that doesn't have suspension. Since the C1 is labeled as a commuting scooter, other than power and comfort, one of the most important features to me is range. So Caroma claims the C1 has the ability to go up to 30 miles in optimal conditions, and I've ridden a lot of scooters in my lifetime. I've never actually had a scooter go the advertised range. This is probably due more to my weight, not riding on perfectly level surfaces, and I never ride around in the slowest speed setting. And so far in my testing, this scooter's averaged about 23 miles of range per charge, which pleasantly surprised me. So I feel that 30 miles might be possible if you're much lighter than me, you're using speed level 1 or 2, and are riding in the right conditions. And while the scooter is powerful and smooth, one aspect that really excels at, and I really haven't talked about, is the fun factor. The scooter's torque and direct feel give it a sporty ride without harshness and will keep you grinning ear to ear. And one thing that really surprised me is how much attention the scooter gets, which I attribute to the scooter's futuristic looks and bold orange color. The C1 looks like no other scooter that I've ever ridden, and many people were turning their heads to check out the C1 when I was riding past them. So I'm extremely happy with the Caroma C1 electric scooter. This scooter really surprised me how much fun it was to ride and how torquey it was. For the price, it's a really hard scooter to beat. The only thing I wish it had was a slightly stronger front EABS brake. So in conclusion, this is one of the coolest electric scooters I've personally ever ridden, and I'm extremely impressed with it, especially for the price, which at this time is $550, which I think is a steal for the build quality and the power the scooter has. The C1 has a ton of features, it's powerful, has good brakes, it's just a really fun scooter to ride that turns heads wherever it goes. But if you have any questions or own a C1 yourself and want to share your experience, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.